Welcome back, everybody. We are joined this week with Gregorsaurus Rex, the mid laner for option 12. Greg, how you doing today?
I am doing pretty darn good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. So, longtime player,
hmm
how did you originally hear about the LCUS?
So, it depends on how far back you want to go. Before LCUS was a thing, there was something called House Party 5v5, which was very similar to LCUS, except it got very, very large and very, very busy very fast. So I was part of that for a while, and I know a couple other longtime LCUS players were in there as well. I believe, I want to say LNZ Turtis was. I know Ace was.
Okay.
There was a handful of others as well. Once that kind of broke down and stopped being a thing, there was a brief interim where there wasn't anything like this, and then I got word from Ace and Trufflesaurus that this was going to be a thing, LCUS was going to be a thing, and as a result, I'm like, sign me up. That sounds like a plan. I didn't get the memo until actually a few splits in,
Yeah, I
so I was kind
think
of late to the
Split
party.
3 was the first one you joined in.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
All right. And how long have you been playing League of Legends then?
A long time. Let's see. How I try to base it off of is like, what is the first champion I remember being released? The first champion I remember being released was Garen, and I looked it up. This was back in 2010. So I guess I've been playing for way longer than I thought. Uh,
Okay.
like 10 years.
All right. Yeah, I the first champion when I started playing, I think was technically I think Shyvana and Riven were like back to back, and it was I think Riven was the first one. Or Riven had just released and I think Shyvana was the first one while I was playing. Either way, that was still 2 years after you. Um so you were part of the LCUS before the LCUS existed. Finally got the memo split 3. You were longtime support, 3 splits of support. What prompted the change to mid lane?
Well, the funny thing about that is it wasn't entirely my choice. I
Okay.
initially queued up for support again,
Okay.
um, but as you may have noticed, there are a lot of supports this time around. That combined with the fact that I was kind of getting sick of playing support a bit, um, and then they put me into mid for all the scrims. I'm like, well, I'm actually enjoying this more. I feel like I'm impacting the game a little bit more. So that kind of slotted in well, and that's pretty much how it ended up.
So kind of a guided choice that you ended up really
Yeah,
liking.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yep.
All right. So we're already done with the regular season. You guys finished second in the standings. What was the most exciting matchup of the regular season this split, would you say?
So that's a tough question. I think the most exciting for us was probably our series against Northern Storm, which is fitting because we're playing them again in the playoffs. Simply because, and I believe that Prowler mentioned this during one of the podcasts or during an interview or something like that. We were having some difficulties within the team trying to figure out our identity, trying to figure out our strategy, the best way to approach things. And it goes to show we went 1-1 and then 0-2 in the two previous matchups. So for the Northern Storm match, that's the first time that we were firing on all cylinders. We were all on the same page. In truth, even against Blitzkrieg in the first series, we were still somewhat disjointed, and I think that very easily could have gone sideways as well. But the Northern Storm series is the first time we really stood up as like a one solid team, as one cohesive unit, and played very well.
All right. Um, so obviously moving forward, hope to keep that firing all on all cylinders going for these last 2 weeks to close out the split. Um, how's it been? Like you said, trying to find your team's identity. What's it like having been on different teams every split, adjusting to each different team and the players on them?
It's That's an awesome question, and it really varies, from split to split. I've found, like there were a couple of splits where it was a very well organized team, lots of spreadsheets, lots of research and scouting, lots of practice, even scrims against other teams. And then there was, I'm not going to name which team it was to throw anyone under the bus, but there was one split where there was, minimal practice, a lot less of that, any sort of scouting and stuff like that. I had to essentially drive all by myself. And I have found this split to be a good balance between the two. Um, I feel like we practice enough to perform when we need to, and we have a good idea of the meta and what other teams are going to play. But it's also not consuming our entire lives, which I think, especially in the times of 2020, is probably a good thing to be able to actually, you know, play the game, but then also get out and do something else for a bit as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Trying to balance those schedules with meeting up for practice is certainly a
Hmm.
challenge that is more difficult for certain people than others. Um, so let's hear a little bit more about yourself and your long, long history of League of Legends. In your long time, uh, I assume you've gathered a favorite champion or maybe a couple favorite champions, either their design, uh, like appearance, or just maybe you really like their kit, or maybe you just really enjoy playing one of them.
Hmm.
Let's hear your favorite two, three.
We can go with two because two is the easiest because that's pretty much the two roles I've been playing.
Okay.
um, so this should come as no surprise to people who have been in LCUS for a while. My favorite support, hands down, is Thresh. Always has been. Um, at this point, I'm pretty trash at it because I'm very out of practice. But I just love the versatility that he has. I love that he's a playmaker. I love that you can rescue people while at the same time engaging fights. Just all around, and the overall appearance of him and the visual of it, just outstanding. I love that champion. As far as the mid lane, interestingly enough, I guess this sort of falls under support as well. And Kenos will love this. It's Brand. I really love playing Brand. I wish he were more viable. He's not, but I just love the way that he looks and the overall like just massive AOE damage he can pump out. He's a lot of fun to play, um, and I just remember getting my butt kicked by him repeatedly when I was climbing up to level 30, the first
It
climb. So
it's
yeah, I
always
love
interesting watching certain champions develop into different roles because Brand was historically always a mid
it.
laner, and then all of a sudden, boom, he started exploding into the support role, and now you don't really see him mid anymore. And it's kind of a refreshing oddity when you do,
Hmm.
even though you hate playing against it.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of champs that are like that too. Like in professional play, Lux is like support, and that's about it. You don't see it mid. LCUS is obviously a very different beast, but it's strange how some of them just kind of branch off that way. But that's how it goes, I guess.
So we got the champions. How about skins? Do you have any favorite skins or maybe a skin line?
Honestly, I do like the joke skins. I like a good meme. I like Birdio a lot. The more ridiculous, or Corgi, Corgi, whatever it is. We have a Corgi, so I'm a little biased there. But Pretty Kitty Rengar, like the meme skins are the ones I love the most, and I
I think
know
you're
that
gonna catch some hate from some of the
I'm
casters for
I'm
that
sure I will.
Galio skin there.
I am sure I will. That's fine. I accept that hate.
So before your matches, do you have any like rituals you go through, or just anything to help get you hyped up, or maybe to decompress afterwards?
Something that we do as a team, which actually I've never done with any other team, and I'm really glad that we do it, is we basically sit down and we have like a watch party. Be that either beforehand, if we're like one of the later series, watching the games before leading up to ours, or afterwards to decompress after our series is done. We sit and watch and sort of commentate on what we think is going well for teams, how we think it's going to play out, stuff like that. It's been a lot of fun.
Also helps you to kind of adjust and learn from those teams and either
Mhm.
integrate or make notes for when you play against them.
Absolutely, it doubles as scouting.
All right. So moving forward, let's talk about the big topic that everyone's wondering about, playoffs. So as it stands, you guys are sitting in second place, having the tiebreaker over Northern Storm. You mentioned before that you're playing them first round of playoffs. Do you think your games are going to go quite as smooth as they did before? Or are you expecting Northern Storm to kick things up a notch?
So I'd like to say it's going to go as smoothly as before, but realistically speaking, I think that it probably will be a pretty close set. Um, I think we took Northern Storm by surprise because they had just watched us play, frankly, pretty badly for a couple weeks. I don't know if they just didn't prep for it or if they were just surprised by how aggressive we were and how coordinated we were. My guess is they will not be fooled by that again. Um, And that doesn't even, of course, like if they're holding back any picks and they've kind of been sneaking around with it, there's a lot of things that could happen in this set that could make it very close. I think it's going to be really, really competitive.
All right. So are you thinking you guys are going to win 2-0, or do you think you guys might end up dropping a game and taking it 2-1?
I think we have this weird habit of losing the first game and then winning the second game. In fact, I'm pretty sure all of our 1-1s have been that way. So I feel like if we win the first one, it'll be a 2-0. But if we lose the first one, it'll probably shake out to be a 1-2. Just because I feel like we bounce back better than a lot of other teams do.
Okay. And what are your predictions for the other two teams? First seed being Nine Lives, fourth seed being Team Phoenix.
I mean, let's call a spade a spade. 9 Lives is scary. That said, I was pleasantly surprised by how well Phoenix did when we played against them this past week. Um, it is a far cry from how they looked in the beginning of the season. So I think that they have the potential to play spoiler here, and I wouldn't even be surprised if they did. But if I had to put money on it, it would be 9 Lives.
Okay. Are you chalking that up to a 2-0, or are you chalking that up to a 2-1 as well?
Um, I'll go on faith. I'll say it's going to be a 2-1. I think the Phoenix can take one off, and I think that, in fact, if they do take one off, I don't know how 9 Lives mental will be, so they could shift pretty quickly, but I'd still go 2-1 to 9 Lives.
All right. So either way, you're expecting yourselves versus Nine Lives in the finals match.
That would be my guess, yes.
All right. Well, best of luck to you. Do you have any other closing thoughts here?
I just want to give a quick shout out to my team, Eternal, Prowler, Queen Elizabeth, Fang, Pointy Ball. Those guys are awesome. I've not had a closer friendship with a lot of the teammates that I've had like this, so it's pretty neat to have that here. So let's hope that we can round the rest of the season out with a bunch of wins and have a good time. But even if not, it's been cool to make some solid friends from this.
All right. Well, hopefully Option 12 can make it back into the finals to try to reclaim their throne, and Pointy can try to defend his title, being the only returning champion from last split.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to you guys this week, and hopefully we'll see you in the finals.
All right, thank you much.